I didn't notice the extra grave at first. Why would I? Graveyards aren't places you count things. They're places you avoid looking too closely. But I've lived across from Blackridge Cemetery for 23 years. And when you stare at something long enough, you start to see when it changes. It began on a Tuesday. I was standing at my kitchen sink, washing dishes, when I glanced out the window. There was a new headstone near the iron fence. Polished marble. Too clean. Too new. I assumed there'd been a burial I hadn't noticed. It happens. People die. Plots fill up. Life moves on. But something felt off. Because the cemetery had been full for years. No empty spaces. No new plots available. I knew that because the sign at the entrance said so. No remaining burial spaces. I'd read it 100 times. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2:11 a.m., I heard something unusual. A low grinding sound, like stone dragging across dirt. I got out of bed and looked through my bedroom window toward the cemetery. At first, I saw nothing. Then movement. The ground near the center of the cemetery was shifting. Not exploding. Not cracking. Shifting. Like soil being pushed upward from beneath. Slowly. Carefully. And then, a headstone rose from the earth, as if invisible hands were planting it. I told myself I was dreaming. I went back to bed, but when I checked in the morning, there it was. A new grave. Fresh soil. No funeral flowers. No visitors. Just a name carved into the stone. Evelyn Harper. Born 1982. Died 2026. That was yesterday's date. I drove to the cemetery gates that afternoon. The iron bars were locked as usual. The groundskeeper, Mr. Delaney, was inside trimming hedges. I called out to him. Did someone get buried last night? He looked confused. No burials scheduled this week. I pointed toward the new headstone. He squinted. What headstone? My stomach dropped. It was right there. White marble. Fresh dirt. Impossible to miss. But Mr. Delaney saw only grass. Flat, undisturbed grass. That night, I didn't wait in bed. I sat by the window, lights off, watching. At exactly 2:11 a.m., the ground began to rise again. Another section of soil bulged upward, slowly forming shape. The earth peeled back like skin, and a coffin surfaced halfway before sinking slightly into place. A headstone followed, carved instantly, like words appearing in wet cement. This time, I grabbed my phone, zoomed in, took a photo. The name read Daniel Reyes, born 1994, died 2026, tomorrow's date. The next morning, I checked the photo. The grave wasn't there. The image showed only grass, but I remembered the name. So I searched it. Daniel Reyes, age 32. Local address. Alive. I tried calling the number listed online. It rang. A man answered. Hello? I froze. Is this Daniel Reyes? Yeah. My voice trembled. You might want to stay inside tomorrow. He laughed and hung up. The following day, a news alert popped up on my phone. Local man killed in car accident. Daniel Reyes. Time of death, 2:12 a.m. I dropped the phone. My eyes drifted to the cemetery. The grave was there. Permanent now. Solid, visible, even in daylight. The pattern continued. Every night at 2:11 a.m., the cemetery grew. One grave at a time. Each marked with a name. Each dated for the following day. And every name belonged to someone still alive. Until they weren't, I stopped sleeping. I started watching, writing names down, trying to warn people. Most didn't believe me. Some did. One woman packed her bags and left town. She died on the highway at 2:13 a.m. Single car accident. No witnesses. After a week, I noticed something worse. The graves weren't appearing randomly. They were moving closer. Each new grave was slightly nearer to the fence, nearer to my house. One night, instead of staying inside, I did something stupid. At 2:05 a.m., I crossed the street, climbed the fence, stood among the graves. The air felt thick, heavy, like breathing underwater. At 2:11 a.m., the ground beneath my feet vibrated. I stumbled backward as the soil in front of me swelled. A coffin forced its way upward, close enough to touch. The lid cracked open slightly, and I heard breathing inside. Weak, panicked, alive, the headstone formed beside it. I didn't want to look, but I did. The name carved slowly, letter by letter, Matthew. That's my name. I staggered back. No, 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 no. The death date? Tomorrow, 2:12 a.m. I ran home, locked every door, turned on every light. I wasn't going to sleep. I wasn't going outside. I wasn't driving. If it couldn't reach me, maybe it couldn't claim me. At 2:11 a.m., the lights flickered. The sound of shifting earth filled the air. But it wasn't coming from the cemetery. It was coming from below. My house trembled. The floorboards creaked. The ground beneath my living room began to rise. A crack split the hardwood floor. Soil pushed through. Grass sprouted between the boards. And then a headstone emerged from my living room floor. My name carved deep into stone, the date glowing faintly. 2:12 a.m. I tried to run, but the front door opened on its own. Outside, the cemetery was gone. No fence, no graves. Just an endless field of dirt, stretching into darkness. And in the distance, thousands of headstones rising at once. The clock on the wall ticked. 2:11, 2:11, and 30 seconds. The ground behind me split open. Cold hands gripped my ankles, pulling, dragging me backward into the soil. I clawed at the floor, screamed, but the earth swallowed sound, swallowed light, swallowed me, and then silence. I opened my eyes. Morning sunlight, birds chirping. I was standing in my kitchen, at the sink, washing dishes. Across the street, Blackridge Cemetery. Still, peaceful, unchanged. Had it been a dream? My heart pounded. I ran outside, crossed the street, looked toward the fence. And there, near the very front of fresh grave, polished marble, too clean, too new. The name read, Matthew Collins. Born 1993, died 22/6 yesterday. I stepped closer, confused, because I was standing there, breathing, alive, until I noticed something. People were walking past me, through me, like I wasn't there. I turned toward the cemetery gate. Mr. Delaney was inside, talking to a young man I'd never seen before. The young man pointed toward my grave. "What's that one from?" he asked. Mr. Delaney sighed. "Strange thing. That one just appeared overnight." The young man laughed nervously. "Cemeteries don't just grow." Mr. Delaney didn't smile. "They do here." The young man glanced at his phone, frowned. "That's weird. I don't see this cemetery on any map." That's when the ground behind him shifted. At exactly 2:11 p.m., broad daylight, a new headstone began to rise. Closer to the fence than ever before, closer to the world, and carved slowly into stone was his name. The graveyard isn't running out of space. It's making space for everyone, one night at a time. And tonight at 2:11, it will grow again. Subscribe for more.